Hello everyone, Asta is back at it again with another review. But just so you know, these won't be so commonplace anymore. These will be on occasions where I think a simple skit or short won't cover my thoughts in a meaningful way. Also this year is the 40th anniversary of the Legend of Zelda franchise, so I thought I'd cover a character who frankly deserves way more attention than it gets. With that said, it's time to discuss a villain from the Zelda series who, while not as good as Ganondorf, is severely underrated by the Zelda community and frankly deserves more attention. Today's video will discuss none other than the eldritch horror older than the universe itself, Null! Null is probably one of the most terrifying villains in the Zelda series, yet is severely underlooked by the Zelda community in favour of other villains despite its lore implications. And the fact that it explains so much about the series and is probably the darkest character in all of the Zelda series. With that said, I will handle this in a similar fashion to the Ganondorf review back in 2024. Alright, enough talk. Let's review this creature of the void. Null's design has several revisions throughout its appearance, its true form being a dark purple and formless blob that is also purple on the inside as well. There's also its avatar, which essentially acts like a heart which takes on a couple forms. Mainly a cloud with gnarly hands and electricity coursing through its form that later on takes the form of a dark version of Tri. And for the final phase, a giant glowing blob with distorted masks all over its body with several gnarled hands. Truth be told, the designs are cool enough, but I will admit they could have been more outwardly terrifying. And I also would have liked at least a hint to what a more humanoid form would look like for it. A good friend of mine even sketched these alternate takes on Null's design that were made to be more outwardly scary, including a humanoid form. But overall, his actual designs still get the job done well enough. The atmosphere surrounding Null's character. Unlike Ganondorf, who is more theatrical, bombastic, and intimidating, Null's is more unsettling and creepy. I mean, most of the tracks in this video are Null's themes. I will leave a playlist of Null's various music tracks used in the description below if you're interested. Unfortunately, we don't have enough tracks from Null specifically, so we had to take other non-related tracks from the same franchise in order to fit all of the categories. Overall, Null's atmosphere is the epitome of true fear and unnerving darkness. We skip the performance section since Null doesn't have an official voice, but if we were to give a voice, it would be along the lines of something like either Dormammu from the MCU or Man on the Internet's depiction of Lavos. Or perhaps even a combination of both. Anyways, as for its personality, Null is the absolute worst in the Zelda series. Its personality actually aligns with 4 of the 7 deadly sins. Those sins being pride, wrath, greed, and gluttony. In fact, let's discuss those sins. Pride is the belief of superiority over others, and Null believes itself to be above everyone else and is outright offended that other beings could exist aside from itself. It even disregards its own creation since it devours Dark Zelda before the final battle. And overall, I think pride is Null's predominant sin. Wrath is obviously what I embodied in earlier videos, and like I said earlier, Null despises other life forms and believes that they should have never been allowed to exist at all, and the second he gets the Triforce of Power, it uses it to destroy a large portion of the universe and immediately goes to kill Link and Zelda so it can finish the job. Greed is the unhealthy obsession for material gain or self-gratification. And Null's desire to end all of existence so it can keep the void to itself is the epitome of selfishness, which is the reason why I consider Null to be a greedy character. Gluttony is the constant consumption of food or some other form of sustenance to fuel oneself to the point of waste. And Null's gluttony for energy is seen a lot throughout its appearance. Even before the world was created, Null devoured other life forms that existed around it purely for its own satisfaction, and it even devoured countless Tri-Fairies, which we see evidence for inside Null's body, aka the final dungeon of the game, and an untold number of people that were trapped in the still world during the long existence of the world just because it could. Overall, these combined traits make Null into a creature of unfathomable darkness and absolute destruction, and is the true root of all evil in the Zelda universe. All of this combined makes Null the most evil character in the franchise. In other words,
he has no soul. He's legit.
Null is the biggest threat in the Zelda series, bar none. From the desire to end all of existence, to just how it is responsible for everything that has ever happened in the series. I mean, in terms of personal acts alone, it has rendered several children as unfeeling vegetables, stripped Link of his ability to speak, trapped numerous people, including Ganon, in the still world, which is a fate worse than death. And on top of that, it's the reason the world exists in the first place, since the goddesses created the world to imprison Null when its insatiable hatred for other life forms got out of hand. Who knows what would have happened if Link and Zelda didn't wipe it from existence with the Triforce? And even then, it might still be lurking in other timelines. I'm looking at you, Nintendo. Please, give us more Null appearances in the other timelines, if so you can wrap its character up in those other timelines. Null's boss fight is good for what it is. Not the best final boss in the series, but it's serviceable. Phase 1 has you attacking Null's arms while it blasts you with dark energy, and after you destroy the arms and hack and slash it a bit, it will retreat and summon echoes and try to attack you with its arms from the walls. It will also slap the ground to create temporary hazards. After a bit of dealing with that, Null will surface again. Rinse and repeat until Phase 2. Phase 2 will have Null try to escape to absorb more tries in order to heal and empower itself in an underwater segment. You must pursue Null while using underwater echoes to repel the sea monsters it sends at you, while avoiding underwater whirlpools and making sure to take bubbles in to avoid running out of oxygen. After reaching the end of the corridor, Phase 3 will begin. Phase 3 is the most intense of the bunch, as it is essentially Phase 1 but with some extra steps. Null will summon echoes of bosses to attack you. These include Seismic Talus spins its arms around in an attempt to hit you, and sometimes this will work in tandem with the Ganon attack I will describe in a bit. Goma spits webbing in order to make travelling more difficult. 4 and later on 6 Ganons will attempt to stab at you. 2 and later on 3 Scorchills will try to freeze spin at you. 2 Mogriffs will summon fire tornadoes to attack you. And the main difference with Phase 3 is that the segments in Phase 1 where Null's hands and some echoes attack you is made even more intense, with multiple hands and multiple echoes all at once, including a hand that will try to grab you. After you do all of that, you just need to use the Bind ability to pull the Triforce of Power from Null and use the completed Triforce to wipe Null from existence. So yeah, this is definitely a fight that gets more chaotic and will keep you on your toes. Oh, and a little trick I will tell you about this fight. You can use Bind on the arms to get Link or one of your echoes to attack it more effectively. Just so you know if you plan on getting this game or if you're going into this fight for the first time. Admittedly, Null doesn't really have the strongest direct presence, since we don't even know that it exists until after you defeat the Ganon Echo the second time. However, once you learn the true story around it, the stakes are spiked. No longer is it about saving Hyrule from a dark force. It's about saving all of existence from a primordial force of evil that is the root of everything that has ever happened. Not to mention the lore implications. A friend of mine even came up with the following theories. Null created the Demon Tribe. This theory essentially states that Null is directly responsible for the existence of demons in the Zelda universe, and created them in order to give it the chance to destroy reality. However, they gained sapience and decided to conquer the world, rather than destroy it. Null is responsible for Lurel's slow crumbling. Without the Lurel Triforce, one could imply that Null took advantage of this and Null began to slowly take the upper hand against the Tri-Fairies in that universe until nothing could stop it. At least until Link and Zelda undid this, and as such, slowly undid Null's efforts. Null is responsible for the geological shifts. Throughout the Zelda franchise, locations sometimes shift from game to game, and Null could be implied to be the one responsible for each and every time it has happened throughout the series. And that's just a couple of the potential theories that revolve around this character. So yeah, Null is clearly a character that comes with a lot of lore implications, and as such, this makes it one of the more fascinating villains in the series, even if it is somewhat lacking when it comes to other aspects. Overall, Null is a villain that, while far from perfect since it lacks proper voice acting, its boss fight not being the best in the series, and its personality could have afforded to have been expanded a little more, Null is overall still a pretty good villain and deserves more attention than it gets. So for that, I will give it a 7 out of 10. Now if you want me to make more of these types of reviews, let me know in the comments who would you like me to discuss in this manner. Of course, I will have to change the format for movie and TV characters, but if you want more like this, I will be happy to oblige. With all that said, I will see you all in the next video. Hopefully Nintendo remembers the Zelda 40th anniversary, and may the stars shine down on you.